Hello, everyone. Welcome to Black History Month celebrations on Geeks of Color. I'm Eli with Latinx and Gaming, and we're so excited to be doing more of our Game Dev Spotlight series, more of our Creator Spotlight series. So today, I am here with Kwan. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Eli. It's been a fun week and I'm excited to get talking.
Yeah. I want to start at a place because you make games, you stream as well. So you're doing a little bit of everything. It sounds like.
Yeah, a little bit. Um, me and my team, BK Game Devs, we are working on a game on like Thursdays. We do game development. We show it
Mm,
and we stream it. Wednesdays, we're playing games. It is quite the mix of things. It started off from a small little like a nugget of an idea,
idea.
and now it's like blown up into a big thing, right?
That's all you need. You just need
Yeah,
one seed to make a mighty jungle. So let's talk about
exactly.
what inspires you and what helped you grow into the game industry, right? So I guess I want to go back to you and just ask, what actually started this game journey for you?
Sure. So, man, we had to start when I was about this big, right?
Okay.
Gaming goes back to when I was a young kid. I've been playing games since I was probably before I was 4 or 5 or 3 years old. Just playing
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
sorts of just video games on Game Boy Color,
Of
and
course.
stuff like that. But the first game that really made me, think, I might want to do this again. Me at like 6 years old,
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts One. Kingdom
Mm.
Hearts 1 is an amazing game, and I was like, "Wow, this is fun," and I just kept playing it and
Oh
playing it,
yeah.
playing it.
When you walk away,
Oh,
simple and clean. Yeah, I could do it like for a year.
it's so good, it's so good, and so I love that game, love the sequel. I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, but
Me
also
too.
I played a lot of retro games, played a lot of
Mm.
Sonic.
Mm, mhm,
Um,
mhm.
so as I got older, I was always into gaming, but I'm also a creative person. I draw, I do other kinds of art. But I got to college and then I got presented with the big question of what's your major? And I'm here like, all right, what do I want to do, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so I'm like, all right. At this point in my life, I had dabbled a bit with web design and like
Yeah, yeah.
building like websites. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll do that. But also I was like, if I do a major in like computer science, I can knock off. Maybe I can learn something about games and learn more about web design. So I went through college and learned a lot of programming. And so now I mainly do a lot of website stuff for my main job, but I learned game design and I taught myself in college. And so now here I am. So it was a culmination of playing Kingdom Hearts as a kid, playing more games, and
Of
believe me, my
wanting.
PS2 shelf was massive. Um, and just playing games, and then
Mm,
figuring out I want to make one of these games. I
yeah.
have so many ideas in my head. Like I have to teach myself how to do this. And so my team and I, we had some courses in college, some extracurricular stuff, and yeah, it ballooned up. I never thought that I'd be working on so many games, doing little game jams and streaming game development. Like I couldn't have guessed that.
So I'm kind of excited to talk to you because I am a big fan of Metroidvania style games, and I
Yes,
understand that that's what you're making. So, what is the name of your game? Tell us the style, the inspiration. Like, can you just give us the pitch a little bit?
sure, yeah, of course, of course. So the game we're working on is Soribel, and
Okay.
so it takes place in a like post-apocalyptic world
Hmm, hmm.
where most of humanity has been turned into like pseudo monsters with little intelligence that are like going around and
Okay.
like attacking people.
Okay.
I can't tell you the whole story, but what I can tell you is
Okay.
that the main character is her name is a Soribel, and she is a Afro Latin inspired kind of character. Now, this is not Earth, so technically there is no like Afro
For
Latins on this
Latin.
planet, but you get what I'm going at.
Yeah,
And
of
so
course.
the idea is to unravel the mystery of how the world has come to be this way. Why are people turning into monsters? And the main character goes on a journey to try, kind of find these answers and see, can we fix things.
Mhm.
Um, the thing that we're trying that's a bit tough is for Metroidvanias, usually, not always, the story is a bit more light because it's so
Of
you can
course.
go anywhere you want. There's no real like linear path. You
Yeah,
have
so
to
you can't
find where
control when they discover things.
exactly that. So you can't control when they discover things about the story. So you can probably have a few like hard cutscenes and like
Yeah.
hard points, but you can't control where they go. So what we're trying to figure out is how to build a more complex story through a lot of lore. And so that's
Mm.
where we're having some fun with like story elements, gameplay elements and all these kinds of things that we think will really make it a different kind of Metroidvania than we've seen. And we are inspired by Hollow Knight, Ender Lilies, Super Metroid, the classics, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many good 2D games just recently in the
Yeah.
platforming space, like The Messenger, Celeste. There's been a lot of things that are
Yeah,
kind of like
exactly that.
more genre defining, but within the Metroidvania space, like I enjoyed this one that was like a pinball one where you're a bug that has like a pinball thing and it's like a pinball
Oh,
Metroidvania.
really?
Like
I haven't
I was
played it.
loving that. Yeah, like Yokai Express or something. Like it was just like they were like, hey, it's a Metroidvania game, but it's a pinball game too. And I was like, that's really cool. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's so
always
interesting.
liking that. Yeah, that those new
Exactly that.
things in the space like that.
Of
So
course.
your lore that you're talking about, I love
Yeah.
that the way that you're trying to have, because you can't control the branching paths, right?
Mhm.
And I would say some of my favorite games, like for instance, like a Bioshock, right? You don't
Yep.
have to listen to those audio logs, but
Yep.
that lore is the thing that sells the world. So
A
that's what it
exact
sounds like your game's about, right?
Yeah, exactly that. That's what we're trying to sell, because what we want is the least amount of, like, a cutscene where someone is just, like, explaining plot to you, right?
Exposition, yeah, just
Yeah,
telling you.
exposition, right? We think it'll be more fun to have players, again, they'll have, like, a baseline understanding of what's going on, but as you go through and meet new characters and see new things, you're like, "Huh, something's going on," and I'm piecing it together slowly. But the more you like explore the game and find, oh, there's a little like alcove there. Here's a little piece of
Mm,
lore. You do some side quest for a character that seems unimportant, but you get more lore, and like that builds this sense of understanding in the world. And again, not to do it to
giveaway.
yeah, yeah, not to give it away, but there's a lot of things going on in the background. And as I said, it's a post-apocalyptic world, and so why is it post-apocalyptic? What
Mm,
happened, right? What
mhm,
caused us to
mhm.
get to this point? And then going back to games like Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight does a great job of there are a few key cutscenes, but then there's a lot of like, go read these tablets out there. They will
Mm, mhm.
they will give you a whole other story that you won't see if you just breeze through the game. And that's what we're trying to pull from, and we're inspired by that kind of like, the more invested the player is, the more the lore grows, the more the world grows with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Depth through narrative. I am
Yeah,
all
exactly.
about this idea here. So I want to talk to you then, because I know that my cultural background informs everything I do. It informs how passionate I am and how I'm
Yeah,
fighting for more people like me in this space, right? So
yeah,
what is your background? What is your history? I'm sure that you weave it into your narrative, as you kind of mentioned, your
yeah.
character in a world that doesn't really have Afro Latin characters. You're still having one there because
Exactly
you want to
that.
see things reflected in the world. So yeah, what was your background? What is your
Yeah,
experience?
so I'm born and raised in New York. So
Mhm.
I grew up in the upper part of Manhattan, which has a lot of Dominican culture. So I myself am not a Dominican, but I grew up around that for like 15
Mhm.
years. So that felt very close to me personally. Then my father, he's Costa Rican.
Mhm.
So he is fluent in Spanish. He's been speaking to me in Spanish my whole life. So that's a big part of my culture as well. Now,
Mhm.
while I'm not fluent, I'm trying to get there though. um, so that really is a big part of my culture, because he's taught me so much. And growing up in the part of Manhattan that I did, there's so much culture and like fun music and clothing and just food. There's so many things that
Life.
life, exactly. There's so much life in there that is like so core to who I am. And then my mother, she's from Barbados,
Mhm.
so I'm also like West Indian and a Caribbean in that regard. And so there's a lot of that element that comes through in my personality and my talking style and stuff like that. And it bleeds into the game, as you said, and like in a good way though.
Yeah, of course.
As we've all seen, like tons of games have a lot of the same kinds of protagonists, and there's so many kinds of people, right? So I'm like, let's mix it up. And I see other games that are doing it too, and it's amazing. Just having people with different skin, with different accents, with different languages,
Mhm.
all just in a melding pot, because that's what the world is, right? It's not just one
Yeah.
type, it's a billion types, right?
Yeah, there's not just one thing in the world. I fully agree with you there. And it's I think it's especially bad currently in the video game space, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe movies have made a little bit of progress.
Mhm.
Disney's diversifying the type of heroes we see on screen,
Yep.
right? But I think in games it hasn't got there. And it's nowhere near as bad as a few years ago where like the guy in Force Unleashed and then like Cole from Infiniteness and like the
Oh,
prototype guy were all the
the
same like
same character.
blue, like, yeah, like bald dude, like just
Bald dude with the angry face,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
exactly that.
like the only bald dude I want to see with an angry face is Kirby, like on the American art box art when he's like angry eyes and not cute like he is in Japan on the box
Yeah,
arts.
exactly.
But yeah, so I guess I want to kind of go to and pivot to what is the experience like for you being, potentially, a minority within a minority in this space? Because we've had a few of these interviews, and like, there's a Black History Month, there's a Hispanic Heritage Month, but
Yeah,
there's not really like a mixed culture month in a sense. So
yeah,
I guess, are you celebrating during both of these months? And
yeah, yeah. So for I think exactly what you said. Being a minority within a minority, it's like, as you said, there is no like mixed heritage month, but the more you look into a lot of Afro Latin influence, or even just African
yeah,
influence or Latin influence, you see there's a lot of melding there. There's a
yeah,
lot,
yeah.
like there's so much. So I definitely celebrate both. And for me, it's an interesting experience because I feel like I have a lot to show, a lot to say. I think
Mm.
that a lot of games in particular, as you said, like games are not anywhere near as far as movies and like TV shows, but I feel like I have a lot that I want to say and a lot to show from my culture, from a side that is like the Black side, which is a very core
Mm-hmm.
part of me. My skin is dark and I have an afro, like people will see that. But then there's the Latin side that people don't immediately guess,
Mm-hmm.
because of stereotypes, people have some idea of how a person who's Latin will look, and then when I start
Yeah,
speaking Spanish, they're here like, wait, what? And it's
yeah,
like, just because of that doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
I speak some Spanish. I'm not fluent, but I speak some Spanish because it's part of my culture as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
seeing those characters who are more duplicitous, or have like, or not duplicitous, it sounds like they're evil, but like more
Yeah,
like a varied and like a multifaceted,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is really important to me. So in this space, it's been interesting because it's not often I meet a lot of Afro Latin game devs in particular. I may
Yes.
meet Afro Latin artists. I may meet Afro Latin photographers and stuff like that. But it's not often I see game devs. It's either the ones I've met so far, at least, are like either they're Latin or they're Black. There's just finding that intersection is interesting. And I think it's important. I mean, because people like me exist.
Yeah, no, and that's what a part of this is about, right? It's
Yeah.
spotlighting your stories, talking about
Yeah.
your games, showing that you are here and you're not going anywhere, and we
Yeah.
better get
No.
effing used to it, right? Because
Exactly
it's
that.
this, it's I think it's this hard thing, right? Where some places can be bad actors and they have just diversity quotas, right? And then
Yeah.
other places are just like, hey, we have this type of, and we're making progress, right? Because
Yeah.
like now it's like, hey, there's this kind of character, let's get that kind of writer to write them. But then
Exactly.
like, but then even those requests are even binary, right? It's like, oh, we have a Black character, let's get a Black writer for that, right? But
Exactly.
that character, there's so many Black people around the world that are from so many different backgrounds and varied.
Yeah.
And I think you're very correct when you like, it's, I don't think that there's so many people with Dominican heritage and Colombian heritage that
Right.
also identify as Black, right? But they
Exactly.
don't get that spotlight. And like you were saying, not to say that they're othered, but like someone has that stereotype. They see you
Yeah.
and they're like, "This is what you are," and
Exactly.
that's not in any way fair, right? Like,
Yeah.
in I guess, how can we support that? How can we change that? And I don't expect you to have all the answers because we're
Yeah.
not trying to solve everyone's biases. But like,
Yeah.
is there anything you can think of that helps that or can fix it in a way?
Yeah. So off the top of my head, there are a few things. So I think things like this are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Having the ability to spotlight people who fall into both of these boxes, and probably many more. And I think showcasing that side of gaming is what I'm trying to do. And then through extension, like being able to, promote people like me, and not like as a to toot my own horn, in that there are people who, are making games, who are making content that aren't just in one box or the other, and they have
Mm-hmm.
interesting stories to tell. It's like you said, there are a lot of people in Colombia who I was actually in Colombia a few years ago, and there are people who identify as Black. They look like me and they speak fluent Spanish, but it's just
Yeah.
not what the media puts out there as the
Yeah.
idea of someone who speaks Spanish. And so that, I think, is a big help. Just being able to do things like this and promote artists and create communities where people of
Mm-hmm.
Afro Latin culture can meld, talk, and interact.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is exactly what we need, to be able to just have these people in some sort of a spotlight, just to make it known that they're there. Because I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people, they don't. It's not even like in a bad way. They just don't think about it. You
You
know,
don't, yeah, they're not being malicious about it. It's just that they don't,
exactly.
it doesn't connect. They don't think. And you're right. Like having, because you do exist, right? There's
Yeah,
so many people that obviously they're not maybe as amazing or talented as you because of course you're making a great game. I'm not, you don't want to toot your own horn. I will toot your horn today and
I
I will tell
appreciate it.
people to follow you at BK Game Devs there. It's on the
Yes.
screen. They can follow you. But like, it is that thing, like you're right. Like these, everyone from these backgrounds exists. Let's connect. Let's share their stories. Let's spotlight them, and let's kind
Yeah.
of, just embrace everyone and have that warm,
Exactly.
that welcoming aspect. So then, to pivot away from you and to pivot to other
Sure.
people that inspire you, or that that you want to shout out. Is there anyone who you follow that kind of lifts you up, or that you're just like that person's doing it right? From any background, honestly.
Yeah, sure. So there is someone I know. They are at Monroe on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find their site in the bio. And they are a creative director and photographer based in Brooklyn, and they're doing amazing work trying to create interesting stories through
Mm.
photography. And always seeing their work always inspires me to be like, how can I make my game or the art I'm doing more multifaceted and more deep in its tones, with things like, as you said, like so depth through narrative, but
Yeah, of
with like
course.
art, like the art, I want the art to be impactful, where when someone looks at, the box art, or whenever when that comes out, or the like a trailer or whatever, what strikes them, what makes them, emote, think.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing their work really inspires me. Someone else is Crossover Media. They are doing a similar thing, where so they're a big fan of UK rap music, right? So they are from the US, but they are like creating a whole YouTube channel bridging and explaining like the UK style of rap to Americans, and bridging this gap that's been like there for a while, which I think is interesting, and it makes me think about the music side of the game that I'm working on, right?
Of course.
So like I hope to have inspirations from, there's modern hip hop, which is, very like American black, and then there's also tons of music that's Latin that comes from Afro inspired themes. You have people like a Celia Cruz,
Mm-hmm,
who
mm-hmm.
I love, and like her music is great. And then there's just tons of things that I want to incorporate in all those kinds of ways. So seeing them doing their work is just like, so it's very inspiring. I'm just like,
Yeah.
y'all doing
No.
it, I could do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you in many ways, but also the music thing that you hit on. Like, yeah, you don't remember the sick button combo you pulled off to like defeat some boss, right? You
Yeah.
remember the tone, the vibe, the setting. Like, I played Chicory, and the
Hmm.
boss music in that game is like one of the most impactful things I've done in a game,
Yeah.
right? And it
Yeah.
just, like, to me, like the music sticks with me more. So I do like that
Exactly.
you're highlighting that aspect, or that you appreciate that aspect.
For
So
sure.
then,
For sure.
last thing, I'm going to put you on the spot here. So this game,
Okay.
what's the, is there a delivery date? Is it you and the team? What are you guys thinking? How you feeling?
All
What's your
right. All right.
progress on it? Where are we at?
Okay. So I got to be honest. So we're early on in
Okay.
development. So we are working with artists and with some music people. I don't know what to call them, musicians, right? Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
a composer. So we're building out the art, and we're building out the score, but we're early in development. So what we stream right now is we are building the core functionalities of the game. So going from start to finish. Now, again, by no means are we amazing at game development. We are new to this in many ways. So we are building out double jumps, dashes, wall
Yeah.
jumps, all the basics of a Metroidvania, stuff like attacking enemies and things
Hmm.
like that, with assets that we won't put in the final game. There are tons of free assets online that we use, and that's what we're using right now at the moment.
Hmm.
And it's for two reasons. One, we don't want to spoil all character designs yet. We
Yeah,
plan
of
to
course.
put out a trailer and release date in a due time, but we also don't want to wait for all that before we start the game. So
Mm.
now a release date, I can't give you one because we don't have one off the top of our head. But we are earlier. We're early on in development. I'd say we're probably. Oh man, I can't even throw a percentage on it.
10%, 20. Yeah, yeah, you're right. That is a bad thing to put a game dev on the spot for. So I
Yeah,
will not let you delay your game as much as you need to internally. Take the time, make the great game. I totally
yes,
get that.
exactly that. That's
But
that's the goal.
we can follow and support you at BK Game Devs here on the screen.
Yep.
And Are you looking for new people to join the team? Are you looking for any other perspectives, or do you just like crowdsource this through chat? Because I'm sure as you're designing things, the chat's telling you just like that's garbage. A double jump should be 2 pixels higher than
Exactly that.
the sprite
Exactly that.
frame. Or yeah,
Exactly. They're like, hey, this looks too low, or like this animation is a too quick, it's too choppy. It's like, all right, cool. Like, thanks for the feedback. But yeah, we are looking for we're looking for another like artist. That'd be cool to find another artist to join
mm,
our team, as well as someone to help with social media stuff.
mm.
Because we post on Instagram, on Twitter, and we're doing that all ourselves, which is fine. But we would love to have that help, to have someone who could manage that side of things, and we can focus on the development, and that'd be like a symbiotic relationship, you know?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. That's exactly. I mean, that's how I got my start in the industry, doing just
yeah,
social media stuff for game devs. So anyone out there, I don't know if you want people sending you resumes or following you or hitting you up on Twitter, but
hey,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
that's fine. If they hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at BK Game Devs, we will definitely talk. That is
yeah,
awesome.
I love that. I love that. Let's get you the support that you need, because yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much.
yeah. When you're a many hat wearer, you're doing a lot of the things, whether it's the engineering or the design or the art, and you're doing all these things. It's
Yeah,
hard to have that support and the energy left to also promote your thing and be on
exactly.
TikTok and be on Instagram and hit all these different audience, or
Yep,
your Discord and managing all these things. So
exactly. You hit the nail
yeah.
right on the head. It becomes a lot, and so I think that's also a reason why we stream what we're doing, because
Hmm.
we want to make it transparent and clear to everyone. You know that like what goes into game dev. There are days where we're on stream and we're trying to fix a bug. Takes us an hour. Why? Because that's how coding works.
You know what's funny? You saying it takes an hour is a very low estimate. I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
everyone out there, you could waste an entire 8 hour day for the smallest little parenthesis being out of place. And when you
correct.
find it, your whole day is gonna be blown up and you're just gonna be like, I can't believe that
Yeah,
this is who I am as a
exactly.
person. Yeah.
Exactly that. You got it completely right. So that's why we would love that extra help, because it's stuff like that that takes a lot of time, and the more time that we have to do that kind of stuff, the better, right? So getting help with social
Mhm.
media or art, like that would be amazing. But
And,
yeah,
and and that's the thing that I just want to share, because my background is I'm a recruiter in the industry, and
yeah,
I just want to let people know there's so many different entryways into the industry,
yep,
and you don't have to have the accredited college knowledge, or you don't have to do it alone either. You can ask for support. You can find like-minded individuals that want to build something together, right? But you
yeah,
can also look at other design developments that necessarily aren't art or engineering or
yep,
design, right? You could be in
exactly that.
IT, you could be in the social media management, the
Yeah,
comms department,
exactly.
you can be in HR. There's so many different avenues for
Yes.
success for people like us to exist in this industry. And the more voices like us there are, the more people will come along with us, because we're going to afford our people opportunities. I know I certainly am.
Yeah, yeah. You hit it on the head. That is exactly right. There are so many ways to get into the industry. It does not have to be just I write code, so
Mhm.
that's the route that I've chosen. But there are tons of others, as you said, art, music, social media,
Yeah.
marketing and promo. There so many ways to get into the industry and help games thrive and help games be seen by others. Right?
Hmm. So, look, this has been great. I could talk to you for 2 years about all of this, but I want to thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to
Thanks for
throw
having me.
your tag up on the screen one more time, but in the
Yes.
description, in the article, we'll have all your links so everyone can follow
Oh,
you, check out your work, and everyone watching this, retweets are free. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't cost
that's
you any
true.
money. It just costs you 3 seconds of your time, probably less, to click that button. So please support the people you're seeing during this spotlight series. Follow them, share their work, because they're doing great things, and we need more eyes on the things that our community is making.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. Thanks for having me, and it's been great talking to you. I'm looking forward to talking to you again if the chance can come up. This was great.
Oh, we're hashtag besties now. I'm buying your game whenever it comes out. I'm buying that game. I'm supporting you.
Exactly. Oh,
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Bye bye.
thanks everyone.